Hi, this is Michelle, and welcome to Life Evolved with Michelle. I am a nurse, bodybuilder, and expat who lives my life in Panama. So I've been sharing all of my experiences here on YouTube. And today I wanted to give a little bit of a view on my 7-day Caribbean cruise that I just did with Royal Caribbean. If you follow me on any social media, you have seen that I've been doing posts and videos from the different port stops that we have, which are 3 different countries. And I'll explain to you which countries they are. If that is something you're interested in and you want to hear a review of the Serenade of the Seas Royal Caribbean cruise, stay tuned because that's coming up. Hi again. So first, let me introduce myself again for those who do not know me. My name is Michelle Cordy, and I am a registered nurse who recently retired. I am a bodybuilder who competed in my first competition after age 50, and I'm also living my life as an expat in Panama right now. I've been in Panama now for about 6 months. And have been living life submerged into the Panama culture as much as I can. And so today I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of a cruise I just took. It was a 7-day Caribbean cruise through Royal Caribbean, and we stopped in Cartagena, Colombia. We stopped in Willemstad, Curaçao. We also stopped in Oranjestad, Aruba. So those were the 3 places that we went. And I have videos if you're interested in seeing anything about those cities. I put up some videos so you can follow me on social media and you'll have access to all of those videos. But I wanted to give you a little bit of the pros and cons of that cruise ship. If you've already been on a cruise before, you know all the ins and outs of the cruise, docking, going on there, checking your IDs and all the stuff you have to do to get started on your cruise. But I wanted to talk specifically about the Serenade of the Seas, which that was the cruise ship I was on, and the pros of the cruise. So if you've been on a cruise before, you know the food is always a highlight, and that's no different here. The food on the cruise was delicious. We had a choice of every type of food you can imagine, and this was at a restaurant or a place called the Windjammer that was open to everyone, and they had various hours. The food was tasty, it was hot, it was plentiful, everything was clean. They had so much to choose from, so the food was awesome in the Windjammer. You also had dining that was your scheduled dining time, so you can do a formal dining time. So like for me, my dinner time was at 6:15, and so we can go and have a sit down formal dinner. We did that once while we were on there, or maybe twice while we were on there for 7 days. Most of our eating was in the Windjammer. They had so much to choose from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that we were so satisfied with that we didn't have to do the formal dining and stick to that one time, because there were a lot of activities going on. So if you had to stick to one time, you would miss some of the activities. So that the dining was a pro. Other pros that I forgot to mention, you had a choice of going to specialty restaurants like Chops. They had other restaurants that you can go to, but those were additional costs. But they were coming around advertising if that was something you wanted to do. So there were more choices besides your main dining in the Windjammer if you wanted to pay or upgrade your dining. Also, the ship cleanliness, oh my goodness, they were so clean everywhere. From the time you walked into the cafeteria, they had hand sanitizer there, so you weren't really worried about germs spreading. It was very clean. The staff was very friendly. That was a pro as well. They kept the rooms really clean. Like, we didn't have to ask for anything. We had fresh towels every day. Our steward came to our room every day, asked if we needed anything cleaned up, provided new towels, whatever we needed. Another pro was the variety of activities that they had on the ship. They had a lot of activities for you to do. It was a family-oriented cruise, so they had things for adults, things for children on the different levels. There were 12 levels on this cruise. Most of the cabins, I think, were on between 6 and 10, I believe. Don't quote me on that for sure. But I was on level 7. We had a really nice junior suite room, is what I call it. There was a balcony in the room, off the room, so I was able to go out and enjoy the view every day. So that was a plus. They had, for your announcements, which I think was a plus, the cruise was very Latin based. So when the captain would come on, he would speak in English first and explain the weather, the way we're going, which side of the water we're going to be on, because as you know, there were things going on in Venezuela. So this kind of kept the passengers at ease. When we got to the different ports, that was a pro. The ease of leaving the boat, access to your excursions, all of that was very smooth. There was, if you prepaid for your excursion, then everything was planned out. You can also walk off the ship and get an excursion right then if that's what you wanted in different places. So that was a pro as well. So those are some of the pros that I felt were good for this cruise for 7 days. Safety aspect, especially in Colombia, there was a lot of concerns about getting off and at the port and walking around Colombia, which we did. We took an excursion and we had no problems. We felt safe. We were in a highly area where there are a lot of travelers, so there wasn't any concerns. I believe. Now we'll discuss the cons, in my opinion. So on this cruise, it was advertised as a Caribbean cruise. However, I feel like it should have been advertised as a Latin cruise because it was very heavily Latin based, meaning everything was really spoken in Spanish. And if you were not up on your Spanish enough, you would kind of get lost in what was going on because everything was in Spanish. So kind of felt like that if you were like an English speaking person on the cruise, you felt a little bit left out when it came to like activities and even the music that they played. It was very Latin based. So I felt like it could have been a little bit more evenly spread out. Not necessarily even, because the cruise had mostly Latin people on it, but you did have a good number of English speaking patrons on the cruise, and there could have been a little bit more of things for us as English speakers to enjoy. So that was one of the bigger things, because I felt like it kind of hindered my ability to really enjoy, because a lot of the stuff I didn't understand, just being honest. Like, I do know some Spanish, but I am not heavily versed in Spanish. So a lot of the activities, sometimes they wouldn't even like talk about it in English. So that was a con for me. They had 6 elevators, but they were, I guess because they were going from 2 or 1 all the way up to 13, the elevators were like so slow. So like you really could not get on the elevator. And just think about the people there were people there who had wheelchairs and stuff. So basically everybody else really had to walk up and down the stairs. Now that can be a pro and a con. It just depends. If you're eating a lot like I did, you might want to take the stairs. But for me, a couple of those days, my knee was acting up, and so I had a swollen knee. So it's kind of hard to have to go up and down the stairs for somebody who maybe had some mobility issues. So that was kind of I don't know if that's anything you can do because of the amount of floors that was in the elevator and the amount of people that were on there. It didn't seem like a lot of people, but for some reason the elevators were very slow. They didn't have an area. This is another con for me. They didn't have an area where you can enjoy American music at no time. So like if you like country, you like pop, you like hip hop, you like R&B, easy listening, any kind of American style or English style music, there was not a spot where we could go and enjoy that. Everything was just kind of Spanish based. So to me, that was a con because it didn't keep everything more copacetic for everybody that was on the ship. The pool was beautiful, but there was like, it was kind of small for the amount of people that were there. So you had like, in the hot tub, for instance, they might have had 3 or 4 hot tubs. At one given time, it could be like 10 people in the hot tub. So you would never be able to get in the hot tub. The pool was kind of small, and it was mixed with children and adults. And you know how on one side, the outside pool, they did have an adult pool on the inside. So let me just keep that separate. If you wanted to go to the outside pool, most of the time the kids were out there. So you really didn't have room to get out there in the pool. So it was a little bit crowded in the pool area, which that may be a thing on cruises. I don't do very many cruises. This is only like my 3rd or 4th cruise. But I felt like the pool was kind of small for the amount of people that were there, and it was overcrowded. On your excursions, a lot of times, like I said, it's very Latin based, except when you went to like Aruba or in Curaçao, not so much. But if you did anything like in Colombia and stuff like that, your excursions, and Curaçao too, your excursions were basically Spanish. So you had to either ask for an interpreter or, let them know in advance so that you can get the English version so you'll know what's going on. And sometimes you wouldn't even have that. So you just had to figure things out. So that was another con to me, but it was only a few. So if I can make suggestions about this cruise, I would say just if you're doing this Caribbean tour, it is very heavily Latin based. So you want to be up on your Spanish so that you can really know what's going on and really enjoy, unless you have no problem with just trying to figure it out on your own. But other than that, the cruise was a great experience. I loved the different port stops that we stopped at. I had a great learning experience in Colombia. I learned some things about, in Aruba and in Curaçao, the Dutch influence there. I learned about that. So those were some great points, and of experience there. So that's just a little bit of the cruise. If I had a chance to do it again, would I? Maybe not. I am more of an explorer type, so like cruises for me, and at least this one, I kind of felt locked in on. We were on the water probably like 3 to 4 days of them 7 days. So it's like after you do a couple of activities, they kind of repeat themselves. So it's like you've kind of seen everything they have to offer. So then you kind of get bored a little bit, if I might say. But the entertainment, like the live shows, they were excellent. Like they had a variety of performers from different parts of the world. So we were able to learn some things about other cultures. I think they had people, I can't even remember where they were from, but they were from other countries. And they brought their style of dance and singing and whatever shows that they did, they brought that. So that was good. So I hope that this little review gives you an idea of the cruise. If that's something you want to do, I'd say go for it. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed and you've learned something from this little pros and cons of this Caribbean cruise, 7-day Caribbean cruise. And like I said, we went to Cartagena, Colombia. We went to Curaçao, Willemstad, and we also went to Aruba, Aruba. And so that was that. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys stay locked in and come back. I have plenty more to share. I'll be talking more about how my channel is directed on healthy living, how you live healthy as an expat, things that you can incorporate into your lifestyle living outside of the U.S. and to stay healthy. So come back. I hope you like and subscribe and make a comment. Let me know what you think. Do I need to, did you enjoy it? Do you have any questions about the different areas we stopped? Any questions about the cruise itself? If I left something out, you have questions, just, reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer you back. So thank you again for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.